Fox Sports.
We are Black Hawks. We are Florida.
Roof wide open again tonight. Day 2 for this homestand. Miami opening the home schedule last night. The Braves came in and shut them out. 6-1, a great start by Atlanta. Miami just 1-6. Donovan Solano won. Pierre and the Fish try to get the bats going and get some runs on the board early. Giancarlo Stanton still looking for his first home run, and it won't be easy against Chris Medlin as Wade LeBlanc takes the ball for the Fish. Hi, everyone. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. It continued last night for the Marlins, losing a low-scoring game. Good starting pitching, just no hitting.
You know, you get all the hoopla out of the home opener. You get it out of the way. You come back tonight, maybe a little more relaxed, but then you realize you have to face a guy named Chris Medlin who has outstanding stuff.
There's no secret why the Braves are 6-1 right now. Justin Upton is just tearing it up, and Upton again last night, 4 hits, including a home run, and he scored both runs.
You know, it is amazing. You think this guy, because he's been around for so long, is 29, 30 years old. He's 25 years old. He's off to an incredible start, and he showed everyone at the ballpark last night why he's such a valuable piece to this offense for Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves. He had 4 hits. He has 6 home runs on the year, 6 home runs in his first 7 games. This guy debuted as a 19-year-old back in 2007, and now he gets to play with his older brother BJ, so they're having some fun right now.
If you're looking for a silver lining in the scorebook, it was a pretty good movie, too. It wasn't scorebook.
Yeah, it was.
If you're looking
Academy
for
Award winner.
a silver lining, it's starting pitching. The Marlins starters ERA is 4th in the National League. Wade LeBlanc will try to keep that going.
You know, LeBlanc in his last outing threw well enough, and I think we could say this with just about every Marlins starter. They've had an outing where they've thrown good enough to win. 5 innings, gave up just 3 runs to a good lineup against the Nationals. The bad news is that LeBlanc has never beaten the Atlanta Braves. He's 0-3 in his career, and his ERA is over 6 against Atlanta. The good news, I knew I'd come up with good news, he actually pitches better against right-handed hitters than left-handed hitters. We'll watch that tonight.
I've got good news as well. It's a night where you become part of the telecast. Yes, it's Tuesday. Back to an email. Twitter Tuesday tonight. Get your fingers ready, kids. Here we go. As the Marlins get set to take on the Braves. Marlins Park, Braves and Marlins. Braves winners last night. Fish and Braves back at it tonight. Let's go out to our center field set. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine, all dressed up and ready to go.
With this dashing new set, which looks great. Come on out and visit us here at the park. Email Twitter Tuesday. Niner, we got some business for you tonight here.
Got some business for me?
We want to find a handle.
Why not? I'm considering getting into this whole Twitter thing. I want to find, maybe the fans can give me a how do you call it?
Tweet.
A tweet for...
tweet your name.
My name.
And you're going to give tickets to the winner who picks the handle for Jeff Conine. For more, let's go down to Allison Williams on this Email Twitter Tuesday. Allie?
Sounds like I'm going to need to brush the two of you up on some of the Twitter lingo a little bit. Niner, don't talk to Craig. You
I need a cheat sheet, Allie.
Exactly.
Give me something to talk about here.
I'll hook you up. But hopefully some of the fans will hook you up with a Twitter handle. He doesn't want anything traditional. It can't just be at Jeff Conine. Think of something fun, maybe Mr. Marlin. Want to hear from you on that. We also want to hear from you on how you spent your off season. You can send us your tweets at Fox Marlins is our handle, and you can also go to the Marlins page at foxsportsflorida.com. Click on Game Connect and ask the broadcast if you want to do it the more traditional way, and send us your email. The predecessor to Twitter Tuesday was Email Tuesday, of course. And I know this is the first one, but I got to tell you guys, fans out there are expecting us to be in mid-season form. I already got a few tweets that if Rich and Tommy go too long without answering tweets and emails, that I have to get after them. So we want everybody in mid-season form for our first Twitter Tuesday here on Fox Sports Florida, guys.
All right, Allie. Was I wrong? It's a tweet.
No, it's a handle. Your name on Twitter is your handle.
Right. But I mean, send a tweet. And
okay.
To give with the handle.
All right. I thought you called it a tweet.
No,
and I was a little worried.
See, I remember a handle back from CB days.
You're a veteran now with this, Craig. I forget. You've got a whole year under your belt.
Handle goes way back. You really take yourself on that one. All right. Larry Beinfest will join us during the fourth inning, so you can send your tweets, but don't ask him for a handle. Coming up, we got baseball at you. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Lefty Wade LeBlanc takes on the righty Chris Medlin. It's Braves Marlins. We'll have it for you in a moment.
Pinch a Penny's first pitch is outside. Wade LeBlanc is underway. Marlins and Braves are underway. B.J. Upton in the box. Andrelton Simmons, Justin Upton to follow. Off the end of the bat, out towards first. That would be Greg Dobbs. And he flips it over to LeBlanc. The Braves at 6-1. Smoking hot right now. You've seen B.J. Upton. Here comes Andrelton Simmons. Justin Upton is setting the world on fire. 6 home runs already.
Evan Gaddis is back behind the plate. Dan Ugla at second. He drove in a run last night. Juan Francisco at third base. Chris Johnson, the Naples product, at first. Reed Johnson gets a start in right field. And Chris Medlin will hit ninth. LeBlanc, his first start, a loss to Washington. 3 runs in 5 innings. Simmons squares the bunt and takes a strike.
Very similar, Rich. Wade LeBlanc, if he's on his game, he can pitch very similar to the way we saw Paul Maholm pitch last night for Atlanta.
Paul Maholm was brilliant last night. 7 innings, a hit, no runs. 7 strikeouts. Maholm picking up the win, and he already is 2-0 for Atlanta. Changeup from LeBlanc is up. Atlanta at 6-1 atop the East. Right behind them, the surprising New York Mets, who are a game back at 5-2. Washington is at 4-2. Simmons lines it into right field, a base hit. Stanton corrals it, and Andrelton Simmons, just his 4th hit of the season. He's at first. Here comes Justin Upton. Here comes the Marlins defense, brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
And we see a change out there in the outfield. Chris Coughlin, who has pretty good numbers against Medlin, he's in the lineup in center field. Pierre and Stanton flank him. Polanco and Echeverria, Solano and Dobbs over on the right side. Rob Brantley is handling Wade LeBlanc, trying to win his first game ever against the Atlanta Braves in 3 career starts and 6 games overall.
Here is Justin Upton. And Upton last night, single, double, homer, single, scored a couple runs. Of course, the Braves adding both Uptons in a busy offseason, really fortifying their outfield. Jason Hayward in right. Hayward getting the night off. You add the 2 Uptons. The amazing thing, and maybe the scary thing about the Braves, is that for Freddie Gonzalez, Upton has been really the hottest hitter. There are other guys that haven't hit a whole lot. Simmons has not been off to a good start. B.J. Upton, not a great start. Evan Gaddis, though he had a home run early, throw to first. Jason Hayward, a slow start. Hayward just 2 for 24. But the Braves are 6-1. They have terrific starting pitching. And this man right here can't keep it in the ballpark. Upton's hit 6 already. As Tommy pointed out, he is 25. He arrived in the big leagues at 19. That was back in 2007 with Arizona. And LeBlanc misses.
You know, you talk to some scouts and they'll tell you a player, especially a guy with some power, doesn't really come into his own until he's about 25, 26 years old. And then has about a 6-7 year stretch where he's at his peak. And that's why some are surprised that Arizona was willing to trade Justin Upton the way they did.
Because Upton had signed a contract with Arizona. His contract runs through 2015. He's making $10 million this year. His brother, on the other hand, as a free agent, was able to sign through 17 with the Braves. So the Braves are assured of 3 solid seasons with both Uptons here. And Justin fouls that one off and out of play. In this Braves lineup, guys that have faced LeBlanc a lot, Justin Upton is actually just 2 for 16 against him.
One thing about LeBlanc, which is it goes to his changeup, which is a good pitch. Righties, career-wise, hitting .257 against him. Lefties, .317.
fouled back and out of play. It is a Twitter Tuesday. Larry Beinfest will be by in the 4th inning, so we'll save trade talk, player personnel talk. We'll save that for Larry. Certainly, and we already, in looking at our Twitter feed and our mailbag, already have angry emails regarding the offseason and LeBlanc's 2-2 pitch, and it's fouled out of play. When it comes to the offseason, the ballpark, the payroll, Tommy and I ill-equipped to answer those questions. We're not in those meetings.
I was in California at Pebble Beach when those trades went down.
Here's the 2-2. And he got him. Well, LeBlanc seems to be the guy that has been able to get Justin Upton out. He's 2 for 17 against him now.
Good pitching. That was a good battle because Upton fouled off a number of pitches. And finally, LeBlanc got him to swing through that off-speed pitch. So good job and some good pitches by Wade LeBlanc.
Now here comes Evan Gattis. Gattis has had some big moments. The home run while his dad was being interviewed. That was a big one. And 3 hits in that ball game. He was 1 for 4 last night. And if you weren't with us last night, the legend of El Oso Blanco, the nickname he got in the Venezuelan Winter League, the White Bear. A guy who has seemingly come out of nowhere, where actually he's been a lot of places and experienced a lot of things and found himself in the big leagues.
He hit over 300 and hit 16 home runs in winter ball in Venezuela.
Oh, 1 pitch. You can hear Todd Titchener say it's out. Dale Scott's at first. Bill Miller's at second. C.B. Buckner at third base. We're just underway. Fox tracks. Andrelton Simmons at first. Evan Gattis at the plate. Brian McCann, of course, still nursing that offseason shoulder surgery. Simmons is running, and Gattis drills at left center field and deep. Back goes Coughlin at the track, and it's gone. El Oso Blanco, home run. Evan Gattis gives the Braves a 2-0 lead.
Well, sometimes you make a good pitch, sometimes it's popped up, sometimes you get a strikeout, and sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the hitter. This is a good pitch. Change up. It's out over the plate, maybe not down as much, but look at the extension and the strength of Evan Gattis as he just finds the base of the home run sculpture. Atlanta now as a team has homered 13 times this year. In comparison, the Marlins have hit just 2.
And the Braves, with their 13 homers, as Ugla stands in, are second in the National League to Colorado, who's hit 14. The Reds have hit a dozen. And Ugla bangs one into left field. Pierre picks it up.
Funny, all of Ugla's damage this year, albeit a very small sample size, has been against left-handed pitching. He's 4 for 8 now against lefties this year, and his 2 home runs have come against left-handers. He puts a good swing on that pitch.
Here comes Juan Francisco. You want me to throw out the first email? I might as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's from Brenda in Coconut Creek. 2 questions. Do you think the struggles of Stanton and Cishek have anything to do with playing in the World Baseball Classic, throwing off their training? Number 2, how do you both handle the negativity surrounding the team this year? I'm sure that you hear a lot of that from angry fans.
The first one, I think the WBC was good for both Cishek and Stanton. I think they got their work in. It was good to be in that type of competition. So, no, I don't think it had any problem.
The second,
I know the answer to the second question, you and I have the same feeling.
Absolutely. We had this conversation a week after the trade with Toronto. Here's the 1-0 pitch. We have great jobs. We get paid to watch baseball games, to broadcast Major League Baseball. And all we can do is the best that we can do, is show up every night prepared, have good telecasts, and we can't control what's on the field.
Have an occasional rant.
Yes, well, that's all part of it from you.
You know, you're right. Look, we're sitting in a booth here, and our view, our office, looks out over a beautiful baseball park and into the city of Miami.
So don't worry about us.
Yeah,
we'll be fine.
We're doing fine.
Here's the 2-1. That one pulled foul. And I always go back to the quote from Larry Beinfest in November after those trades were made. And Larry said having to make those trades was a gut punch to him and to everyone in the organization. It was an extremely disappointing 2012 and extremely disappointing to have to make those trades. Larry will be by in the 4th inning. Foul ball, just foul. Dale Scott was right on top of it. Dobbs draped himself across the first baseline.
And you can see right on the call, Dale Scott, first base umpire.
Dale Scott, a huge Oregon Duck fan. He's from Eugene, Oregon. So Brenda from Coconut Creek, congratulations. You were the ceremonial first tweet and email of the season. Pitch misses down low. David in Hialeah, what will be one or two things that you'll look forward to this year with this ball club? Jose Fernandez throwing every 5 days is one.
That's going to be one.
Runner goes, bouncer out towards second. Solano gathers it in. We'll finish that answer when we return. Wade LeBlanc gives up a 2-run home run to Evan Gattis. And the Braves are on the board first tonight in Miami. Has given Atlanta a 2-0 lead right out of the chute, and it's the bottom of the first. Miami's lineup looks this way. A change near the top with Chris Coghlan slotted behind Juan Pierre. Giancarlo Stanton hitting third. Placido Polanco moves to the 4 spot. Greg Dobbs at first. Donovan Solano at second. Rob Brantley will do the catching. Adeni Echevarria is the shortstop, and Wade LeBlanc. You have to go from a Cuban to the French pronunciation there in the 8 and 9 spot. Chris Medlin on the mound, and boy, was he something last year. As a starter, Medlin finished the year at 9-0 with an 0.97 ERA. And he misses down low to Pierre. Medlin, who had the Tommy John surgery, the Braves brought him back as a reliever first last year and then into the starting rotation to limit his innings. And it turned out to be a brilliant move by Frank Wren and everybody in Atlanta, because Medlin was just incredible down the stretch, helping lead the Braves into that wild card game. Pierre striking, it's 2-1. JP was 0 for 4 last night.
And Medlin had that stretch of all those games that he started, 23, where the Braves won. He didn't get a decision in all those, but the Braves won. Actually, that streak was broken his first start this year against the Phillies, but he pitched well. He lost. The Braves lost that game 2-0, and it was a very cold night. And he had a hard time, from what we've been told, with the grip on that changeup, which is a quality pitch for him.
Yeah, beaten in the wild card game and then beaten in that start. Pierre lines it to center field. BJ's out there, and Upton has it. An out here in the first. Braves defense.
Yeah, we'll see what Freddie Gonzalez has for his ball club out there. A couple of changes. The Uptons in left and center. Reed Johnson with the start. A struggling Jason Hayward gets the night off. Francisco and Simmons, Andrelton Simmons, Ugla, and Chris Johnson, who had a nice game. Johnson had 3 hits last night. And you already know what Evan Gattis can do with the bat.
Here's Chris Coghlan with the slew of lefties that Miami has faced. And with Justin Ruggiano's bat perking up on the road trip, Coghlan didn't see a whole lot of at-bats. But you see his career numbers against the Braves, quite good. And against Medlin, Coghlan is 3 for 6 in his career. A changeup misses away.
It's one of the things you and I always do. We kind of check the lineup, and the Marlins do have 3 hitters in the lineup that have had some success against Medlin.
Donovan Solano, Placido Polanco, along with Coghlan. Three-one coming. It's down low. Coghlan walks. Marlins have a base runner. Here comes Stanton. And here comes a scouting report on Chris Medlin.
Well, he's aggressive out there. He's not a big guy, but his fastball's live. The changeup's outstanding, and he will triple up on that changeup. What that means, he'll throw it 2 or 3 times in a row. And my question is, will he be able to repeat what he did in 2012? Logic tells you probably not, but he still is a tremendous pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think his ERA will be under 1 as a starter. Here's Giancarlo Stanton. Fastball is a called strike. Now, to finish the question from the emailer, what do we have to look forward to during this season? Certainly a Fernandez start, and I think Giancarlo Stanton ABs are still must-watch TV. I know he hasn't hit one yet. Medlin gets ahead of him with 2 fastballs.
Yeah, and to continue that answer, also to follow the development of an Adeiny Echeverria at shortstop to see how he progresses.
Rob Brantley. And to see if Tommy, with his buttons pushed, will go on an appropriate rant. Some good tweets. Brett wants to know, can you guys show pitch tracks for every pitch like some other telecasts? Now, the Fox tracks that we show in the lower right hand of the screen right there are some telecasts that keep it up during each pitch. Artistic license, I guess, applies. And we choose not to.
But personally, I think it clutters it if you had it up there all the time.
But certainly those of you on Twitter tonight can tell us what you think. Brett seems to like it, and that's fine. Maybe we could try it for an inning or a batter. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Giancarlo Stanton. He walked 3 times last night. Medlin got out in front with 2 fastballs. Now the 2-2. Breaking ball off the end of the bat, and it squirrels its way out towards Medlin, who flips to first in time to get Stanton.
See that good off-speed pitch, the changeup. And it's so hard to follow that pitch because the arm action is very similar to his fastball. A dead fish, they used to call that changeup. Always wondered where that came from. And at one time I picked up a dead fish and tried to throw it.
Into right field, Reed Johnson is out there tonight for the Braves, and he squeezes it, and Chris Medlin is through the first. The Braves have scored first and lead at 2-0. In high definition, brought to you by H.H. Gregg tonight. Here in Miami, Wade LeBlanc. This is up with a fastball. Chris Johnson, Reed Johnson, Chris Medlin for the Braves in the second. And Chris Johnson lofts one down the line, Stanton over, and it lands in foul territory. Ball and a strike. Brad wants to know, do you guys ever watch other games while broadcasting Marlin games? That's actually hard to do. But to be honest with you, we do have the Dodgers and the Padres on up in the booth. So occasionally we can look over and see what's going on there. It's 2-0 Padres.
Yeah, it's amazing. I know you do this. I will watch other games. I'll listen to other games on my drive home at times. We'll watch other sports. But we certainly like to keep up to speed with everything. I noticed the note today. I was just looking at some of the other clubs, and the San Diego Padres are having struggle scoring runs. They've scored a couple tonight against the Dodgers, but they came into this game having scored as many runs as the Marlins, just 14.
And have hit just 1 home run this year. Chuck Hernandez watching LeBlanc, working on Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson and then Reed Johnson. So you've got 2 Johnsons, 2 Uptons.
Got the Johnson-Upton lineup.
Terrific catch by Solano. Lunging to his left. He makes the grab. And there's an out here in the second.
All of a sudden, Chris Johnson swinging a hot bat. Mentioned he had 3 hits last night, and he rips this ball. But terrific extension, good concentration, and Donovan Solano hung on.
Here's Reed Johnson getting the start in right. Jason Hayward with the night off.
It's been a struggle at the beginning of the year so far for Jason Hayward. He came into last night's game 0 for 13, and he went 0 for 4, so he's now 0 for his last 17.
Reed Johnson to left. Pierre goes back, and it's over his head. It bounces off the wall. The Braves have a double, and already their 4th hit of the ball game.
Down but out over the plate, and Reed Johnson, a guy who's not going to hit a lot of home runs, but he's very compact with that stroke.
And he's always hit wherever he's played and whenever he's played. He's got a career .284 average, a career .340 on base percentage. And whatever role he seems to be in, whether it's in his time with the Cubs or the Jays, or even with the Braves at the end of last season. Here's Medlin now. LeBlanc misses outside with a fastball. David in Miami wants to know, why did Coghlan get the start over Ruggiano today? Ruggiano's been on a tear offensively so far, says David.
Well, we have an answer for that.
Medlin, high fly ball. Pierre has to go a long ways into the corner, reaches, and makes the catch. JP disappearing from view there for a moment.
There's a lot of room to go, and JP pulling a disappearing act, but just into foul territory. And well, you got to know the territory to make that catch. So nicely done by Juan Pierre. The answer to that, there are a lot of reasons. We've pointed out that Chris Coghlan's 3 for 6 in his career against Medlin. Coghlan also has had a pretty good career against the Braves. 362 in his career against Atlanta.
Ground ball from B.J. Upton. Polanco cuts it off and throws to first in time.
He also needs some at-bats.
Well, there you have it. It's 2-0 Atlanta. Tickets with a 2-run homer. The Marlins open a 3-game series with the Phillies on a Fireworks Friday on the 12th. The Sir Pizza 4-pack is available. You can celebrate Dominican Heritage Night at the ballpark and stay after for a fireworks spectacular and a concert on the West Plaza with Oro Solido. Go to Marlins.com for tickets. Here tonight, Braves off to a quick start. A 2-0 win last night, a 2-0 lead here. And they've got Chris Medlin on the mound. Greg Dobbs, Donovan Solano, Rob Brantley scheduled to appear in the bottom of the second.
You want a ticket suggestion? How about this? Saturday night when the Phillies are in town. 7:10 start. Jose Fernandez against Cole Hamels.
There you go.
There's a suggestion. My suggestion du jour.
One pitch to Dobbs. Breaking ball misses outside from Medlin. Parker wants to know, how is Lomo doing? When will he make his return?
I think you and I talked to Lomo yesterday. We saw him down on the field.
Dobbs flips that one down the left field line. Foul. Nice play by the ball boy.
He hopes to start playing games. Not here, but he hopes to start playing games. So we'll check more with Larry Beinfest on that when he comes in. But I thought Lomo said May 3rd is his target date to get on the field and play some games on a rehab assignment.
He was placed on the 60-day disabled list at the end of spring training, so I don't believe he's eligible to come off the DL until roughly June 1st. Fastball up. Dobbs drives that one to left center field. Upton racing over, reaching, and dropping the ball. At the front of the warning track, B.J. Upton just flat missed it.
You know, I think he got fooled on how this ball carried because he's gliding. He's not going hard to get there, and he actually gets there in time, and the Gold Glover just flat out drops it. And he will be charged with an error. But a good swing by Greg Dobbs. That's the kind of swing you like to see him have.
Now Solano. And of course, Solano, his rookie year last year, hit all of 2 home runs. And they just happened to come against the best pitcher in baseball down the stretch. And that was Chris Medlin. We told you Medlin was 9-0 with a 0.97 ERA. Well, Solano homered twice against him.
Got the silent treatment on that first one.
Lines the fastball foul. There's the second one, and that's the big boy territory. Not in right center. Same game. Dobbs at second. Miami down a couple. And Solano goes after a pitch that was way in. It's 1-2.
I like this tweet, Rich, from I Follow Back. Rich and Tommy, do you guys like having Placido Polanco batting fourth? I think it's better having him hit fourth than having him hit second. No, I like him hitting second, actually. But I think Mike Redmond didn't have a whole lot of choices, and he's kind of experimenting.
Slow tapper. This could be trouble. Francisco gathers it in. Safe. Off the bag. Johnson sweep tag. Did not get a hustling Solano. And so the Marlins all of a sudden have runners at the corners with Brantley coming up.
That should be a base hit because of the degree of effort. Francisco comes. It's going to be bang, bang, even if the throw is on target. Just having to come off the bag. Not a whole lot of experience at first base by Chris Johnson, and that's another thing to factor in. And yeah, it is a base hit. So 5 for 8 now, Donovan Solano is against Chris Medlin.
Well, this is a spot that the Marlins have been in this 1-6 start. They've had runners in scoring position. The Marlins are actually, as a team, with 52 hits, that's middle of the pack in the National League. So the team has hit and had runners in scoring position. You think back to the Sunday game against the Mets when they had so many opportunities to get the win for Jose Fernandez and did not. And if you watch Marlins Live, you heard Jeff Conine talk about it. You heard Mike Redmond talk about it, that guys come up and they know that the team has struggled with runners in scoring position, and they feel like they have to get the run in no matter what. Which means expanding the strike zone and trying to do something that you're probably not best equipped to do, and that's hit pitchers' pitches.
One thing, though, the Marlins have had a good approach and some good at-bats against Medler.
Echeverria is on deck. Two-0 changeup. Brantley was after it, and he was way up in front of it.
Yeah, there's that quality pitch, the changeup that Medlin has, and shows the confidence he has in throwing at 2-0. Where you're sitting fastball, you want to make sure you're on it, and all of a sudden you get that good changeup.
Brantley drives out left center field. Over for it is Justin Upton. He'll make the catch. Both runners tag. Dobbs comes home. Solano holds first, and Miami is on the board. It's 2-1. Brantley with a sacrifice fly. We check in with Allison Williams.
Hey there, Rich. It is our first Email Twitter Tuesday of the year, so we want to make sure that everybody knows how to get in touch with us. Of course, the handle here on Fox Sports Florida is at Fox Marlins, but you can also get in touch with all the broadcasters, except for maybe Jeff Conine, because you see, Niner is not on Twitter yet, but he is finally ready to take the plunge. We need suggestions for what his handle should be. And of course, welcome T-Hut at T-Hut14 and at Rich Waltz. You guys both fairly new to Twitter, so we got to get some more followers that way, kids. Go ahead and give a follow to at T-Hut14, at Rich Waltz. Neither one very hard to find, but we've gotten a few suggestions for Niners Twitter handle. Some of them Mr. Marlin 19 or Niner Conine. One that I like, because Mike here definitely knows his Niner. He says, how about at Racket Master, because Niner is a great racquetball player. I like that one as well. Any of those will work, and I think there could be a bit of a prize in store for the winning suggestion, so send them our way as well. Guys?
I like Conine the Barbarian. I saw that one in there.
That's a good one. I like that. Jeff and I talking about his golf game. He could have at No Shank 19.
Oh, 1 pitch. Echeverria, a little chopper. Medlin on the back of the mound gets an out. Simmons, quick turn in time. Braves turn a nifty 1-6-3 double play. Miami's on the board against Chris Medlin. But the Braves, thanks to Evan Gattis and his 2-run homer, have a 2-1 lead. Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T, the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit AT&T.com/free your TV. Rethink possible. And by Jesserman Auto Stop. It's foolproof. Gray is over. Marlins part as the Fish have Wade LeBlanc on the mound. And here in the third, Andrelton Simmons rolls one out to Echeverria, who whips it on to first. Echeverria has played terrific defense at short. He's been impressive. He looks like a seasoned veteran out there.
It's the way he gobbled him up all spring, too, just like that.
We've heard from Allison Williams, our social media Contessa, on an email and Twitter Tuesday, bouncing in between the emails and the tweets. Kenny wants to know if Stanton continues to struggle, should the Marlins sit him for a game or two so he can regroup?
You know, it's a tough call because he means so much to the lineup with his presence in the lineup. It would have to be real desperate to sit him. I would want to see him work his way out of it by being in the lineup.
Elias has this question for you. What are the Marlins' weak points? Where are the quick fixes and the longer term fixes to those problems?
That's a Larry Beinfest one, too. Right now, the weak points are very obvious, just to generate some runs, to string together some base hits, to get Stanton on track, and not to put it all on him.
3-0 pitch to Justin Upton, and it's fouled out of play. Upton struck out back in the first. Now, Justin Upton has 6 homers already. He's 11 for 27 on the season. But as we pointed out, he really has not hit Wade LeBlanc at all in his career. Swing and a miss. I mean, he's just 2 for 17 against him with 5 strikeouts. Jam shot. In comes Coughlin. And he's there and he makes the catch. We check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, thank you very much, Rich. You know, the Marlins' starting ERA is 2.5 runs per game. That's 4th in Major League Baseball. I talked with Wade LeBlanc about it, and he says they've got something to prove to others.
We got a lot of doubters. Got a lot of doubters that, you know, we got some youth. We got some guys that are trying to reestablish themselves. We got some guys that are trying to establish themselves for the first time. So you got a lot of guys. A lot of people are questioning whether this rotation can carry this team, and I think we got a good shot as long as we stick together and keep pushing each other.
Might be a fair question. What you'd like to see is the Marlins offense take advantage, the bullpen, of this excellent starting. Put some wins up while you're getting these great numbers, guys.
That's a good point. I really liked what Wade LeBlanc had to say. I mean, he's got young guys in Sanabria and Jose Fernandez. You got guys like Slowey and himself trying to reestablish themselves. And certainly Ricky Nolasco, I think, has something to prove this year, too.
Evan Gattis proved something in the first, that he can hit a changeup that's out about 400 feet to left center field for a home run he did. Stanton is back, and he's there, and he makes a reaching catch for the final out of the top of the third. Atlanta, a 2-1 lead. game in the bottom of the third. The Braves have a 2-1 lead. Now, we are thankful that the Atlanta Braves folks and television production team has lent us the Braves signal. So what you're watching is the Braves video, and you'll have to suffer through Tommy and I, and Joe and Chip are in the other building, right next door.
Two of our good friends, Joe Simpson and Chip Carey.
Two very fine gentlemen. Chris Medlin goes to work on LeBlanc. And Medlin throws a strike. The Marlins got a run in the second. An error by B.J. Upton, who dropped Greg Dobbs' liner just shy of the track in left center. Rob Brantley with a sacrifice fly. That followed the Donovan Solano infield single.
That's why that double play was big. The 1-6-3 double play the Braves turned to end the second inning, because now Medlin gets to face LeBlanc leading off the third.
One of the themes to the social media night tonight is, what did you do in your off season? Hashtag my off season. Here's the 1-2.
You just worked.
I did. I just worked.
Rich was at
but work's fun.
ACC basketball
Work's
games.
fun. Now there's the little ACC basketball.
Getting
the
used to all the mascots.
I was in Seattle.
Seattle, you got to go to Top Pot, right?
Top Pot Donuts, and then that's the.
You and your partner with the Sadaharu O.
Yeah, the
you
Sadaharu O
Martinez
Museum in Fukuoka.
That's great.
So that was my off season. What'd you do when you?
I didn't really do that much work. I kind of relaxed and enjoyed myself.
A little football, a little basketball, a little World Baseball Classic. That was my off season. Nice trip to Seattle. We had a trip to the San Francisco Bay Area. Juan Pierre reaches out, lines one into right field. And that's a base hit. So Pierre is aboard with a one-out single. What did Tommy Hutton do during his?
Well, I was at Pebble Beach. That's I was the official coin tosser at the Polo Club up in.
Stop it.
I went snowshoeing one day, out in Durango, Colorado, which is great exercise.
Did they dress you up in one of those little outfits?
Well, it was between me and Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp was out there, and the Hall of Famer now. But we had a great experience at the Palm Beach Polo. I would suggest anybody that's never been there, give it a shot. It was a fun day.
Here's Chris Coughlin. Who wins what when they win the toss to start a polo match? You get to pick your horse. You get to get the first mint julep.
You get the first shuck.
You know as much about polo as you do about NASCAR. Come on.
I learned about polo that day.
That's what you did. Coughlin's up. He walked back in the first.
I think, do you get the ball to start the first chucker?
Yeah, that's the first chucker gets the ball. And one thing I did learn is that the riders use multiple horses during the match.
So it's like hockey. There's shifts.
They're not just on one horse. They change horses.
And are they not all right? Is it right-handed? I think they're all right-handed.
I didn't get that far in the explanation.
I believe they are. Otherwise,
Craig, when you were doing news up in West Palm, you probably did some hits from the Palm Beach Polo.
Yes, I did. And not only that, I actually, a couple of years ago, did one of those final events for some crazy network. But it really is. You're right. It's not only a place to watch, it's a place to be seen. And it's a well-to-do spot, and it is a fun, I think it's usually a Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm. How would the spread compare as far as...
It was tremendous.
Off the charts.
Off the charts.
6 chuckers, I believe, in a polo game.
Marlins used that many in the Mets game a couple nights ago. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Gaddis's throw is high, and Pierre's got his first stolen base of the season.
The Marlins also just picking up the third stolen base. Justin Ruggiano has 2, and JP picking up his first, as you just mentioned.
And Pierre trying to keep that hand on the bag. Coughlin with a count 2-2 now against Medlin. And a swing and a miss and a nasty breaking ball. Big strikeout for Medlin. Here comes Stanton with first base open and Pierre at second. It's social media night, so why not do the AT&T Uverse Twitter poll? If you could have just one Upton, BJ or Justin, and of course last night, as I stated, I would go with Kate, but she's under contract for the next. She does not reach free agency for another 2 years.
She's under control.
Yes. Now Stanton. Bounce back to the mound, back in the first.
This is not, by the way, the sharpest Chris Medlin we've seen in the past, the times we saw him last year. So I think he's, as hitters would like to say, he's out there for the taking. So get some good pitches and have some good swings.
Spots that right on the inside part, and it's 1-1. Ty wants to know, do you think the Marlins will give Stanton a big contract at the end of the season?
That would be a Larry Beinfest question. And he's coming up and will be with Rich and I in the fourth inning.
All right.
But I don't know if Giancarlo, what his thoughts are on that. He's a Southern California guy. I know he'd like to go back there, but that's a good question for Larry.
Stanton, center field, and shallow. B.J. Upton is there, and he makes the catch. Marlins leave a runner in scoring position and trail the Braves by a run. Go to any Wednesday Marlins game, save up to 60% with the Chevron Crazy 8 ticket offer. Fill up at a participating Chevron to get $8 home run porch or $18 home plate box tickets. Visit your local Chevron or Marlins.com Chevron for details. Way LeBlanc, Dan Ugla, And a ball, and it's 1-1. It's a Twitter Tuesday, and we are joined now by Marlins President of Baseball Operations, Larry Beinfest. Larry, welcome.
We scored a run, Rich.
The
Hopefully more to come.
Marlins are on the board. LeBlanc misses outside. All right, Larry, it's our first email night, and as we expected, and I know you certainly in the last 4 months have been fielding these questions from fans throughout. You haven't shied away from them. We appreciate you coming to the booth. One of the questions that we just got.
Very friendly booth.
Is a
very friendly
very
booth.
friendly booth. Fan wanted to ask you on Twitter, why not give it one more year? Why pull the plug on last year's bunch like you guys did in November?
Well, I think you have to rewind back to July, really, Rich, and the disappointment with that ball club. And if you really want to get into it again, I guess we will here for a minute. But we made that trade for Carlos Lee in early July to see if there was some way we could kickstart that team, because we were waiting and waiting and waiting. And yes, I understand the criticism. It was only a couple months, but there were no signs that this thing was going to get going. So we made the tough decision to move Hanley, make the Detroit trade, and try to restructure a little bit, because we just didn't see any of those signals that this team was going to catch fire and get going in the NL East. Fast forward a little bit to the offseason, and obviously we finish up the year. We get some of our young talent here, like Rob Brantley, which we're impressed with, and then there's a couple components there. One, we wanted to make some additional changes to the team. Two, there was a payroll component that needed to be met because of different things that went on with revenues, et cetera, here in our first year, and we made a very tough call. I know from the top of the organization all the way down, it was difficult for us. We're really happy with some of the young talent. You look at, Etcheverry at short, and some guys that are still coming.
That's a long way to go for Coughlin, and he gets there and makes the catch.
I know it's a long way to answer, but this is where we're at. We made a tough call last July. We continue to make that tough call in November. We've completely restructured the whole deal. We're very young, as we can see. We're challenged in some areas, and I think we're going to get better. There's no doubt we're going to get better, but we're going to have to get through some of this and fight.
Fan had a follow-up question to that, and that was, moving forward, looking at your ball club through the first week, where are your glaring needs, and are there short-term fixes, and are there long-term fixes to what you're looking at?
Well, I think when we got on the plane to go to New Orleans, if you would ask me that question, I would have said right now, looking at Wade LeBlanc and some of our pitching with Alvarez and with Evaldi out, that maybe we were going to be a little light out there. These guys have done a terrific job, and Wade's on it again tonight and keeping us right in the ball game. So, it's easy, Rich. You guys are up here. The offense has been spotty at best. We haven't really come through with the big hit. The power has been deficient so far. And, we've lost some close games. We haven't really been blown out, but we have been shut out 3 times already, and you can't win if you don't score. So, we just need to pick it up offensively, and I think we're going to be okay because the defenses look pretty good. We've had a couple things going on, and the pitching has kept us in there.
Larry, from your eyes, what do you see in Giancarlo Stanton so far?
Runner goes, it's pulled foul.
Just a little bit of a slow start, Tommy. He certainly didn't miss any spring training and was healthy in the WBC. And, before he left for the WBC, he was springing the back great in Jupiter. So I attribute it to nothing more than just a slow start. His attitude has been great. I think the guys like him on this team. He likes them. I think everything, all that stuff that was out there in the media, that's a non-factor. Giancarlo's a great kid. And he wants to win and do well. I think it's just off to a slow start. And, he's going to have to be selective. This is going to be a little tough on him. They're going to pitch him tough, and maybe take their chances elsewhere in our lineup. But it's something I'm sure he'll fight through.
Chris Johnson at the plate. Braves got a 2-run homer from Evan Gattis in the first. Marlins got that run back in the second, and LeBlanc and Medlin have been going at it since. Pitch is up, and the count is 2-2. Elias has this. Mr. Beinfest, very proper. Is there anyone on the Marlins radar who can fill the cleanup spot behind Stanton?
We're looking. I think Dobbs has done a good job there. I think Polanco, who we've seen tonight and we've seen in the NL East for years, he's a clutch guy. Not your typical 4-hitter, but he can do it. But, again, this was something going into the season that we thought would be a challenge for Giancarlo himself and for the ball club. And, you know, if Lomo gets healthy, he could certainly fit in the middle of the lineup. And, you know, we have some pieces in AA, which I'm sure hopefully we'll Twitter and talk about tonight, that are injured right now in Marisnik and Yelich and Marcelo Zuna, which we all think can be middle-of-the-order type bats as well. So it's a little bit of a process. You know, I think we have some capable guys right here. We're just off to a little bit of a slow start offensively. Maybe we're, you know, just pressing a bit, or, you know, being on the road in some very tough situations, or whatever it is. We just need to get our feet under ourselves.
Pop up, Dobbs, and Solano, and it lands beyond him.
Will Yelich be the first of those three to get back on the field from the different injuries?
Yeah,
that
I mean,
they
as of right
have?
now, they're all weird ones. I mean, Marcel broke his hand. He got hit by a pitch and broke his hand. And Marisnik, the same thing. And then Yelich, you know, he's had this little bit of a heel problem. It's plantar fasciitis. I don't know how to spell it, but I can say it, I guess.
I'm with you on that.
But he's not far away, Tom. He's been on a little bit of a rest mode just to make sure we get whatever inflammation is in the heel of his foot out, and he'll be ready to go. So I would say all of them within the next month will be back on the field, hopefully up in Jacksonville and getting ready to.
And Lomo,
have their
what's the schedule for Lomo?
You know, Lomo is he's doing functional things on a baseball field now, which is a good thing. He's taking ground balls, he's swinging. You know, the running is coming. It's been a progression for him. I know that he would love to be accelerated. We would love for him to be accelerated, but you know, he had the second knee surgery, and it's taken a while for him to get that strong and to be able to handle the rigors on the baseball field.
Uggla's at first. LeBlanc working on Chris Johnson in the 2-2. And he got him. Good changeup and a strikeout, second out of the fourth inning.
We were talking at the beginning of the game about Wade LeBlanc, how he can be a very similar type pitcher that the Marlins saw last night in Paul Maholm. And he drops a good changeup right there. He really fooled Johnson. That's a good pitch.
Here comes Reed Johnson. Question from Derek. Are the Marlins approaching the international signing period differently this year with a larger signing pool available?
Our signing pool has increased, no question. Our budget is up. We are ramped up in Latin America, and we have our lists and everything ready for the July 2nd signing. So it's a great question. It's an important thing for us. And we definitely have a strong presence down in Latin America, and it's important for us.
All right, another half inning with Larry Beinfest. When we return, Miami and Atlanta. 2-1 Braves. On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Honda. Visit your Honda dealers for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by Checkers, feast on. Cleveland Clinic, fourth inning, 2-1 Braves on top. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Marlins president of baseball operations. Larry Beinfest is with us. And our first Twitter Tuesday It used to be Email Tuesday when we started, but Larry, the social media has taken a turn towards Twitter. Maybe we'll have Instagram Wednesday here coming up soon. But right now it's tweets, a lot of questions about what's on the field and what you've seen so far this year. You mentioned in your last half inning when a viewer asked about the cleanup spot that you're looking right now. Anything else that you are looking for?
I say that kind of loosely, Rich. You're always looking, right? That's our jobs. You're always looking, but I mean, we're a week into the season.
Polanco around first, and he'll get there with a double. A leadoff double here in the fourth.
Another guy, Rich, that's had success against Metlin, Placido Polanco now has 5 hits and 7 at-bats. Got the change-up. He went right down after it to get it past the third baseman, Juan Francisco.
There's a cleanup hitter right there with a leadoff double. Right on cue for me.
There you go.
Hey, we have to ask you, I know the plan for Jose Fernandez was not to have him here at this time, but with the 2 injuries to Henderson Alvarez and Nate Eovaldi, and with the inability of Jacob Turner to pitch well in spring training, he's here. What's the feeling now with the organization with Fernandez here?
It's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
I know you like watching him on Sunday, but yeah, we didn't anticipate this. We thought he'd be in Jacksonville right now, just getting ready. He was going to pitch in the big leagues this year, barring something weird happening. He's just a tremendous talent, great kid. And, really, and I know I've talked to you about it a little bit, Tommy, this thing was tugging at us throughout spring. He was up in big league camp, he looked good. Then he went to minor league camp and was just dominant. And we said, this kid, he may be ready to do this. And then again, we had the unfortunate injuries. And we went through the litany of things that you need to go through with, he's young, service time, how many innings should he pitch, all these things. And, we made the decision. And, I understand there's some detractors out there, but then when you watch him in Citi Field for 5 innings on Sunday, it looks pretty good.
Larry, that being said, as you look at Fernandez and his line, the Marlins are having offensive issues. Obviously, Yelich, Marisnik are injured right now. Say they all of a sudden get healthy and are hitting. Is it easier to promote a pitcher like Fernandez than it is a position player, or would you guys not hesitate to promote one of those two? Ground ball, hard hit, stopped there by Simmons, who makes a terrific play on Solano, and that keeps Polanco at third base.
Hit that ball hard.
Yes.
Every situation is different, Rich, and all these guys come in a different package. In Jose's case, yes, we had some things happen to our pitching staff, and then, he put himself in that position also, though, with his maturity, his physical strength, his pitches in place, his ability to throw strikes, all those things. There's no problem with a position player coming here. The only thing with a position player, generally a young guy, is they need to play. Putting them on the bench is usually not beneficial. So you need to have a spot. You need to have the at-bats when you bring a young position player.
What does Jacob Turner need to do to get back here?
Well, it's an interesting question. We were a little perplexed, Tommy, in spring training. He just had a tough time commanding the ball and throwing quality strikes. He never got ahead in the count, put hitters in good situations. The velocity was okay, but it wasn't what I think we know he has in him.
Which we saw last year
right.
when he was here.
Exactly. And we were very encouraged what we saw with Eovaldi and Turner last September. And it was really his job in the rotation. And unfortunately, he did not throw well. We gave him every opportunity to make the club, and it just didn't work out. So, look, the flip side of that, he's 21 years old. He's got a great arm. He knows how to pitch. And it's just, it wasn't his time right now.
Brantley with a count 1-2. Polanco at third and 2 outs. In the dirt, smothered by Gaddis.
It'd be unfortunate if the Marlins aren't able to capitalize on this run because everything's been done correctly. Dobbs, you saw him intensely roll over, hit a ball to second to get Polanco to third. Solano hit a shot that just was picked by Simmons, the shortstop.
Mike Redmond's preached the fundamentals, and be able to move runners and do all those things that we're going to need to do to manufacture offense, whether it's a hit and run or just putting the ball in play in certain situations. We've had the biggest trouble, Tommy, has been cashing in. We've had base runners. We saw that on Sunday, And again, the Jose Fernandez start where we had the 13 hits, but we couldn't break through with that hit. Once that starts happening, we'll be able to score a few runs.
Medlin with a changeup. Brantley just got it off the end of the bat. So you count 3-2. Echeverria is on deck. That Evan Gaddis 2-run homer holding up right now. Miami got a run back in the second. Fastball, fly ball, foul, and peeling out of play. And the count stays at 3-2.
I see a Twitter here from a fan. I guess you can call him a fan. My wife calls me that same name sometimes, but I can't say it on the air.
And there's a hashtag next to it as well. So.
It might be her.
There you go. Brantley takes up and he walks.
I can't say anything. My son's watching the game right now. So,
all right, we've talked about Marisnik, and certainly we've talked about Yelich. What about some of these other names? Talk about your two left-handed pitchers.
Some pretty good-looking kids right there, and they're not too far away. Unfortunately, we had the injuries with those outfielders. But Heaney had a little bit of an intercostal thing, and he's ramping up and he's throwing, and hopefully
he'll be in Jupiter.
He'll be in Jupiter, and he's getting ready to go. And Nicolino is in the rotation in Jupiter, and he's looked very good so far this year. So again, I know there's. We're talking about prospects, and they have to get here and they have to be productive. But you look at that group that was just on the screen; these are really good. These are really good-looking players, and you like to promote your system, but you also don't want to blow smoke. And these guys are pretty good. I think they're going to help us, and they're not a long way from helping us.
Well, you, with a lot of the top 100 prospect lists, had 6 guys on that list going into this season. Echeverria up. And his ground ball hit hard to third. Francisco short way to second, and the Marlins do leave that run out to third. All right, Larry, thanks for the visit, and we look forward to visiting with you throughout the season.
Guys, thank you. Let's get some runs.
All right, thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
2-1, Braves on top. We're back after this sports injury prevention message from the Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Fifth in Miami. It's time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stats. There we go. Chris Medlin. Last 13 starts. As we noted, 9-0 down the stretch as a starter last year. Lost his first start this year. 2 runs or less 12 times. And look at the walk to strikeout ratio. And he's up 2-1 here. His offense will try to add some runs. Medlin, B.J. Upton, Andrelton Simmons against Wade LeBlanc, whose changeup that he thought was in a good place. It was in a good place. And even for Evan Gaddis, it was in a good place. Apparently, Gaddis strong enough to get that changeup on the outside part and hit it about 400 feet out of here to left center field. That's how the Braves got their 2 runs. Changeup pulled foul. Marlins Live, driven by South Florida Honda dealers. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine start things at 6:30. Line drive, Solano. So there's 1 out. This copyrighted telecast presented by the Authority. The Miami Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins.
Since the first inning, Wade LeBlanc has retired 10 of 12. The only men to reach base was the double by Reed Johnson in the second, and he walked Dan Ugla in the fourth. So he's actually thrown the ball well. It's not been a great start for Medlin. We've seen him a lot better, but right now Medlin and the Braves have a 1-run lead.
B.J. Upton is 0 for 2 in this one. He's 0 for 7 in this series. A 6 for 27 start to his season. He's a guy, Tommy, that can be a little bit streaky. He didn't have a great first half last year, but he had a dynamite second half for the Rays.
It's funny how his younger brother is off to such an incredible start, and he is not. I mean, B.J. Upton in coming to this at bat is 3 for 27 to start the year. But a terrific player. We've seen him over the years with the Rays.
Pulls that one foul. Count stays at 3-2. Foul back to the screen. Brad wants to know, what are your thoughts so far on interleague play?
You know, it's strange because this year with the same number of clubs in each league.
Good changeup. And a strikeout of B.J. Upton.
Every night, pretty much, there will be an interleague game going on. And I thought that would be kind of weird, but I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention, or it hasn't really bothered me as I look at the scores.
Well, it's the game that we talked about, and that is spot the interleague game on the scoreboard. Because you know there's one, you're just not sure where it is and who it is.
And then I have to, when I look at the matchups, I have to keep telling myself, no, wait, that's not an interleague game. Houston's in the American League now.
Right. The interleague game tonight, White Sox at Nationals, 1-1, top of the fifth. Gio Gonzalez is pitching against the team that traded him, or I guess traded for him twice, right? Didn't the White Sox have a couple different deals with Gio involved in it?
Yeah.
Andrelton Simmons lining a single to right. And here comes Justin Upton. LeBlanc has handled him so far tonight. Our Toyota trend, 42-10 in games he hits a home run since 2011. That would be obviously Diamondbacks for most of those. But the Braves have had 6 Justin Upton homers so far to watch.
So far, Gio Gonzalez is dealing pretty well, but so is Jake Peavy. In that 1-1 game, they've each given up a run. Gio struck out 7 in 4 1/3 innings, giving up just 3 hits.
Padres are beating Josh Beckett 3-2 in the 6th. That one's popped up. LeBlanc is calling for it. Dobbs calls him off and makes the catch. And you could hear Upton smash the bat at home plate in frustration. Halfway through, 2-1 Braves. On top of Miami, halfway through, bottom of the 5th. And if you press the SAP button on your remote, Cookie and Raul will appear.
Mira, ¿quiénes están
Hey,
ahí?
Richie, Tommy, how
what's
are you?
up?
How you guys doing?
Hey, welcome. We haven't talked to you this year.
Hey, that's right.
Look at even Cookie and Raul have Twitter handles.
Yeah,
They do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cookie Rojas 1, Raul Striker, like that.
Hey, wait a minute. What about Richie? Is that in Japanese?
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Nice.
Konnichiwa. Cookie, have you been to Japan?
No, I went over there twice. One, the All-Stars, the Big Leagues All-Stars, and then we started the season one year with the Mets. And twice over there. I love that country.
It is. It's a great, the one thing that's really cool over there is they know so much about Major League Baseball. The Japanese players and many of the fans in Japan watch a lot of Major League Baseball.
Absolutely, and we're seeing a lot of those athletes coming over here and establish themselves in the big league. So it's great that we can have that kind of friendship in the countries and the ability to get those players to play here in the big leagues.
So you guys are on Twitter. Now, wait a minute. Tonight's our social media night as Wade LeBlanc stands in. LeBlanc opening up the bottom of the 5th against Chris Medlin. And when Allison Williams was putting up Twitter handles of all the broadcasters, hey, Dub, where's Cookie and Raul on that list?
Lo siento, mi amor.
That's great.
No hay problema. No te preocupes.
That's
Next
great.
time I will definitely have you guys on.
You're good,
Yes.
Allison.
Atta girl.
Ooh, good catch. Way to go. Little roller out towards second. All right, Cookie, give us your thoughts on this Marlin bunch after a week. Obviously, everyone knows they're having trouble scoring runs.
Well, we were just talking in the inning before with Raul here, and seeing what they're going through right now. It's a young club, that we got a lot of injuries and all that. And I was asking Raul, I said, Raul, let me ask you this. Would you bring Yelich to put him right behind Stanton? And maybe that can protect Stanton for where they can pitch to him. He hasn't had any RBIs right now the rest of the year. I know that it's a difficult situation because they said they want him to go into the minor leagues and then establish himself there before they bring him up to the big league. But you remember Harper with Washington came up and did a great job, and the same thing they were thinking about, giving him the opportunity to establish himself real well in the minor league before they brought him to the big leagues. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, we just asked Larry Beinfest a very similar question. Yelich, of course, hurt right now and is probably going to be the first of those Double-A outfielders with Ozuna and Marisnik to start playing. And Larry said, if guys hit down there and show that they're ready, I think the club wouldn't hesitate to bring them up.
I think, Cookie, the thought with the ball club is their first option would be get Logan Morrison ready because he has a little more experience than a Yelich to hit behind Stanton. But I see where you're going, and we saw Yelich all spring, and he was just tremendous.
Well, that's what I said to Raul. I think the way I saw him in spring training and the way he hit against those major league pitchers, it showed me that he has the ability to play in the big league right now.
Here's Chris Coughlin now. Coughlin lines it out to right center field. B.J. Upton cruises over and makes the catch. All right, guys. We'll see you later on the homestand.
Richie, Tommy, good to talk to you guys.
Cookie and Raul, always welcome on the big show. 2-1, Atlanta. Wade LeBlanc facing Evan Gattis. Pivotal matchup in this one back in the first inning when Gattis took a changeup outside part and hit it out to left center field. That gave the Braves a 2-0 lead. Miami got a run back in the second. Sacrifice fly by Rob Brantley. And the pitchers taken over from there. LeBlanc, the lefty, has kept the Braves off balance. Medlin, of course, the right-hander, has kept the Marlins off the board. Miami's had opportunities. The Braves have had opportunities. Gattis, Ugla, and Francisco. Gattis goes down and gets another one and drives it in the same spot. This one a low liner, though, and it hits the base of the wall. Coughlin picks it up. Evan Gattis is a strong dude. He showed it in batting practice yesterday when he first got here. And the two balls that he's hit tonight, Hut, impressive stuff.
This has been very impressive, and they've both been down, so I think we've established Evan Gattis is a guy who can hit the ball that's down in the zone. And it's very interesting. Every year there are prognosticators that preseason they'll try to pick who's going to be Rookie of the Year and things like that. And I'm sure nobody ever had Evan Gattis on the radar, but if he keeps hitting like that, he'll stay in the lineup. They'll find a way to keep him in the lineup even when McCann gets back.
Well, he wasn't on the radar because he was working in Yellowstone Park. He was a ski operator. He was a janitor. He was out of the game for 4 years. He originally was going to go to Texas A&M out of high school, had anxiety issues, and then had alcohol and drug issues, spent time in rehab. Then came back and decided wanted to give baseball another shot, and ended up at a Division II school in Texas and raked.
See what the Braves do. The Marlins had a leadoff double in the fourth inning. They were not able to capitalize, but they did everything right. Dobbs got the runner over. Solano hit a hard shot to short, but Polanco was stranded at third.
Ugla slimmed down, and in talking to Dan, it's all about diet. He changed his diet in the offseason. One, two. And a swing and a miss. LeBlanc turns the dial up, gets a fastball by him.
Yeah, I think that's a situation where in the back of his mind, Ugla may have been thinking changeup. And all of a sudden, you can see when a guy has a good changeup, how he can throw an 86-mile-an-hour fastball by a good fastball hitter. That's what he did.
Mike Minor is a lefty. Alex Sanabia gets the start for the Fish. Marlins Live starts it at 6:30 tomorrow night. Juan Francisco has bounced out and has flied out. You got Chris Johnson on deck. Francisco filling the shoes of Chipper Jones at third base. In the air, Pierre. 2 down. Gaddis still at second base. Weekend series coming up with the Phillies and a post-game concert on Saturday. Willie Chirino is back, presented by Metro Ford. All-you-can-eat seats for just $27, and all of it is available online at marlins.com. A Saturday spectacular 7:10 with the Phillies.
Well, and as we mentioned, Saturday night, Jose Fernandez against Cole Hamels.
That's the spectacular
That should
part.
be enough right there. Ricky Nolasco and John Lannon, the lefty. Remember the veteran lefty who was with up and down with Washington last year. That's on Friday night. Sunday, Kevin Slowey, who is 0-2 but has a 2.19 ERA. The Marlins have not scored a run when he's been out there. He goes against Roy Halladay, who's had some struggles early on.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. The amazing thing about Slowey is it's not just the Marlins that haven't scored runs for him. Slowey has lost 10 consecutive starts. He's the first major league pitcher to do that since Mike Boddicker lost 13 in a row back in 1988 for the Orioles. And Slowey has received the lowest run support of any pitcher since 2011 in those starts. Now, those starts were for the Minnesota Twins coming into this year, and then 2 with the Miami Marlins. So the year that he was 0-8 with the Twins, he was getting absolutely no runs scored for him, and the Marlins haven't scored him any runs in his 2 starts. It's amazing how that tradition has kept up from 2011 all the way to 2013.
And isn't it funny? It goes back to Mike Boddicker, who was with that 88 Orioles team, that team that started the season 0-21.
Stephen M. tweets, "Why won't you answer any of my questions?" Who's at the top of your list for the hottest team in baseball? That's from Stephen M. We haven't answered your question, but we've asked your question. We appreciate your participation, Stephen. I think you're looking at them right now. The Braves are 6-1, but other than the Braves, Tommy.
Well, Arizona's gotten off to a good start. The Tigers are playing well. Miguel Cabrera had his second 4-hit game already, by the way, today against Toronto.
Struck him out. Chris Johnson saying that's not a strike. You're not happy with Todd Tichenor. And the dialogue continues. Here's a look at it. Still 2-1 Atlanta. Titchener held his tongue. Johnson not happy. You can see he's still screaming. Here's that changeup from LeBlanc. It's pitch 6. If the ball is touching the black, it's supposed to be the black of the plate, and that's obviously incredibly close, even in high def.
You know, it's the bottom line, Rich. It's a pitcher's pitch. And, you know, obviously Chris Johnson's upset, but you usually get this upset when it's 3 or 4 inches off the plate. And that one was borderline, but a good pitch by Wade LeBlanc.
I think in Naples, there's probably a few people that think it was.
They'll probably thinking the other way. Yeah. That's right. We're sorry.
Giancarlo Stanton now against Chris Medlin. If you're just joining us, Miami and Atlanta in Game 2. Last night, the Marlins managed just 2 hits, and the Braves beat them 2-0. Here tonight, Atlanta's got a 2-1 lead, bottom 6. Stanton is 0 for 2. He's bounced out, flied out, and Medlin throws him a changeup. Stanton goes after it, and it's 0-1. Broken bat up the middle. Ugla has it, fires to first in time. We were left with Stevens' tweet about hot teams. I'll tell you a couple teams that I think are surprises out of the gates. Colorado at 5-2.
How about
the Mets at 5-2?
How about Oakland 5-2?
I don't think that's a surprise. I mean, the A's were division winners last year.
Yeah. I thought Seattle at 4-4 is actually a good start for them.
Yeah, the Angels, on the other hand, at 2-4, not such a good start. Boston at 5-2. Here's Polanco. Polanco doubled in his last at bat. Marlins had an opportunity in the 4th. The Polanco double. Dobbs moved him over. Solano hit a sharp ground ball with the infield in, and Simmons a lunging backhand stop, and that kept Polanco at third base.
I have a tweet from Daniel. Wants to know if we think John Maine will be a starter. He has been for the most part of his career. He pitched an inning last night, first outing of the year. You know, down the road, you never know with injuries. And with guys getting healthy, you don't know. But that is always a possibility because he's done it in the past.
Ugla is there, and he makes the catch. Danny tweets, "You got to be kidding me on that called strike 3. Get Blue a Cuban coffee and wake him up." Ray wants to know, what are your thoughts on John Buck's National League leading 14 RBIs?
You know, the amazing thing about John Buck, I look back last year. Last year, in April, he had 1 home run and 4 RBIs. In May, he had 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. So he already has more RBIs than he had through May last year. You know, he told us in New York that he worked on some things and compacting his swing a little bit better, and he's just off to a hot start.
Eduardo Perez, the guy that he worked with, and
hey, it's unfortunate. It's very easy for fans to say, "Hey, where's that John Buck?" Well, we didn't see that John Buck. We saw John Buck hitting 190 and really struggled. And probably that fan who asked that question was one of the ones who was booing him, too. And that's the way it goes. But we've always talked about John. We think he's a class guy, a quality guy, and had a great conversation both of us had with him in New York.
Buck himself, in an interview on Marlins Live while we were in New York, admitted that he had an awful year last year. Dobbs up, breaking ball in the dirt, and the count 1-2. Ryan, question from Nebraska. Oh, you give Steven some love, but you don't answer any of my questions. It's down to that, Tommy. The tweeters are fighting amongst themselves. How are things in Nebraska? Diving stop there. Johnson, terrific play. And Medlin over to step on the bag. Chris Johnson making a nice play, robbing Greg Dobbs of a hit. Medlin gets a 1-2-3 inning, and it's on to the 7th, where it's 2-1 Atlanta. top of the Marlins, top of the 7th. Off-season exploits. That's one of the themes tonight for both fans on Twitter and announced teams. Let's check in with Allison Williams.
Well, it was a very special offseason for my family. We added a new addition. My sister, Lindsay, had a little baby girl. That's Ashlyn May McVitie. Beautiful, yes, Auntie Al. I had my 10-year high school reunion. There's some of my besties from Chelsea, Michigan. Worked a couple bowl games, got to meet Dale Earnhardt Jr., which was very cool, and headed down to Homestead for the Ford 400 down there, the Sprint Cup Championship, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, a little NASCAR action. Always a good time down at the track. Craig, what did you do during the offseason?
Very, very busy, as you see the pitch from AJ Ramos. I had a chance to not work quite as much as you did. Had some fun, and first of all, I went ziplining, which you've done with the family, and a very nice girl that I met, and her family, and we went to the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Beautiful area
of Georgia. It's a place I've never been to. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Atlanta. And here's a shot. That's the Firewire, Allison. And then I went to the movie premiere of my big 8 Seconds of Fame, Here Comes the Boom, in New York City. Took my son, who played hockey at the Air Force Academy snowmobiling in Colorado. He's a youngster, and got a chance to hang with Ray Romano and watch his show in Las Vegas, comedy show.
An action-packed, star-filled off-season. But Craig, you made a love connection. That's so exciting. The first peg in there, she's gorgeous.
Her name is Heather.
I'll kick your coverage a little bit there,
and that's
Craig.
what's that? Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Why are you in her
She's
lap?
taller, so that's the problem. That's Spencer Maxwell, and that is Braden.
I like
and
how you're
Bree.
deflecting the question there. To
it just was
kids.
for the photo.
But you guys had a good time?
We did have a good time. Have you ever done that zip? This was a straightaway, about 1,800 feet. Originally, I was going to just take the picture. Of course, you can't do that.
You have to impress the girl, too. You got to show your adventurous
it was really actually a lot of fun and not death-defying.
No.
You didn't feel like you're going to lose your life on it.
Well, that's
for
good.
the most part.
We don't want you taking too big a risk, Craig. Too important to this
It was
broadcast.
fun. It's a good place to go.
All right. Glad you had a lot of fun.
What are you,
and
Chuck
good luck with
Woolery
your
here?
relationship.
Chuck Woolery all of a sudden.
All right. That's enough.
I thought he was hanging out with Chuck Woolery. Yeah.
Come
Gee,
on. Jeez, you two take it outside, will you? AJ Ramos. AJ Ramos in the ballgame. Chris Medlin up. Ramos just struck out Reed Johnson. Medlin has flied out and lined out. And Ramos delivers a fastball. Broken bat, pop up. Out goes Solano. In comes Stanton, and it's Stanton who makes a running catch. Now David tweets. I guess y'all don't read tweets from Braves fans. Sure we do. Yeah, we do. David has a tweet. All bias aside, who do you think the Braves, will win the East this season? I like the Braves.
I'm not sure if they'll win it, but I think they'll be a playoff team.
Which would get them back into that wild card game.
Yeah.
I'm going out on the limb. I'll say Braves. I know it's Braves Nationals. I think once you get Freeman back healthy, once McCann is back healthy, once Hayward gets going offensively, obviously the health of the rotation, Hudson has to stay healthy. And you're hoping for a full season out of Medlin. A couple years off of Tommy John surgery. So, David, thanks for the tweets. And I'm in on the Braves.
I think Tim Hudson's a key. He's 37. And you're right. They have to keep him healthy. The way it was put to me one time this spring talking about the Braves, they may not have that pure number one, but they got like 3 or 4 solid number twos in their rotation.
2-2 pitch. Ramos strikes him out. B.J. Upton, a difference of opinion with Todd Titchman. And Ramos works a 1-2-3-7. And it was a strike. Summary: Chris Medlin, Wade LeBlanc, Evan Gaddis announces his presence with a 2-run homer.
Yeah, it's set up to be a pretty good pitching matchup. That pitch down out over the plate, but Gaddis displayed some tremendous power, a 2-run shot to give the Braves 2 runs. The Marlins have had some opportunities. They've gotten men on base. The 1 run came on that ground ball hit by Solano. Sac fly coming in to score. And they had an opportunity, a leadoff double. Moved over to third, just could not get the second run in. And that's all the scoring. It's a 2-1 game.
And Medlin, who you noted wasn't real sharp at the outset, certainly has sharpened up as the game has gone along. And he's got Solano with Brantley and Echeverria. Change up, a strike. He's 0-2. Solano nearly drove in the second run. It was a great play by Andrelton Simmons in the 4th. Luis Avilan, the lefty in the bullpen. Solano, a little tapper. This is a much easier play for that left side. And it's Francisco who makes the play. And Solano is out number 1. That'll bring Brantley up.
Medlin Rich has been able to keep his pitch count down. He's had a couple of quick innings in retiring Solano. That was pitch number 84. John Roush starts to get loose. Good inning from A.J. Ramos, by the way.
Angry email with lots of exclamation points and funny symbols from Mark, demanding that we answer his question. Who should the Marlins trade for? This time of year, there isn't much of a trade market out there. And if you have someone in mind, let the Marlins know. I mean, you heard Larry Beinfest say you're always looking, but at this point of the season, there really isn't the player that you're after available. Brantley, Ugla backhands from the outfield grass, fires to first in time. Marlins and Braves tomorrow night at 7:10. Kids 12 and under eat free on Wednesday nights this season at Marlins Park. Kids in attendance will receive a voucher for a complimentary Cayenne beef frank, a bag of Frito-Lay chips, and a small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Go to marlins.com for tickets.
Here's a tweet from Brad. Wants to know the one thing we most look forward to when the team goes to Kansas City.
Staying at the Plaza in Kansas City.
At the Plaza, possibly going to the
Arthur Bryant's barbecue.
Yeah. See, it all comes back to food.
Yes.
How about the Negro Hall of Fame?
Yeah, the Negro League's Museum and Hall of Fame in Kansas City is. If you are a baseball fan, if you ever watched Ken Burns baseball, I was lucky enough early in my career to go there and get a tour led by Buck O'Neill.
Buck O'Neill. Used to have the same seat right down by home plate.
Justin Upton was there, and he makes the catch. A 9-pitch inning for Chris Medlin, and the Braves stay on top 2-1. This is just the 10th time the roof has been open for a ball game. Little Red Carbines Chevron starting pitchers for tomorrow. Mike Minor, the lefty. Alex Sanabia goes for the Fish. Sanabia has the lone win this year for Miami, and Minor is 1-0. Here tonight, some runs early. The Braves got a single from that man, Andrelton Simmons, in the first. And then Evan Gattis hit his second home run this year. That against Wade LeBlanc. And LeBlanc would end up going 6 innings and giving up just 2 runs, continuing what has been a terrific stretch of starting pitching for Miami. But without runs, all that has done for the Marlins is a 1-6 record, and they're down 2-1 here. Ramos, this is down low.
Had a tweet from Tracy, and she said she was watching last night and noticed there weren't any fish in the fish tank behind home plate. And she said, did they get traded too? Well, Tracy, no, they didn't. I'll be sarcastic back to you. There they are. And that was a live shot.
You had to qualify with that, did you? Into the seats and out of play. Speaking of the broadcast, a concern tweet.
But we love you, Tracy. Keep watching.
A concern tweet from not Sports Center Miami. How come there's no camera 12 this year? Camera 12, as you'll remember, was the Clevelander cam from last year, capturing hijinks and all that. Ramos, it checked up, and Simmons hustles. Ball down the line. Stanton can't pick it up. The ball boy almost darted out in front of Stanton. And Simmons, hustling, gets all the way to second on a little tapper that was 15 feet in front of the plate.
I think he might have beaten it out. This ball, it tapped and stayed on the grass and didn't get out to Ramos. He had to go reach for it. Simmons is already at first base, so he gets the infield single, but then on the throwing error, he races on to second base.
So the Braves are set up nicely with nobody out, and Simmons at second.
Simmons with his third hit tonight.
Upton, center field deep. Coughlin back, looking up, and it is off the wall. Simmons will score easily. Justin Upton has struck again. Third double of the season. 3-1 Braves. A low fastball, and he hammered it.
When a guy gets locked in, and as hot as Upton is, he's going to hit everything. He had a pitch similar to that out last night. But you make a mistake or you get a pitch that gets too much of the plate. When you're not locked in, you pop it up. When you're on fire, you drive it hard somewhere, and he gets it straight away center field for a two-base hit.
Now it's Gaddis. Still nobody out. And Ramos misses away. Gaddis has doubled, and he has a 2-run homer. Fastball, fly ball to right. Justin Upton tagged. Stanton had a little good piece of momentum going, makes a strong throw to third.
I like Rich observant questions. Brennan has a question that he noticed, we did too, that Medlin is a switch hitter, batted from both sides of the plate tonight. First couple of times up against LeBlanc, hit right-handed, hit left-handed against Ramos. How many pitchers are switch hitters? I don't know that exact number, but there are a few. Not too many, though.
Dan Uggla now. Uggla single back in the first. He's walked and struck out. Couple homers and a couple RBIs for Uggla so far this season. And he fouls it at the plate. Brantley almost overthrew Ramos. And remember, Upton's still at second base. Another run for the Braves. Upton's double scoring Simmons. Uggla off the end of the bat.
What do you got, Rich? Got some tweets?
Jeremiah wants to know if the Marlins will sign Dontrelle Willis and Brandon Backey.
When we were in New York, we saw a note that Dontrelle Willis and Vladimir Guerrero both signed with an independent team in the New York area.
I don't see that happening this year. Echeverria up with it, throws to first. Good heads up and good instincts by Upton on a slow roller to short. He got a good jump and was able to get to third. Juan Francisco comes up for the Braves.
Now you watch both Uptons play. They both have really good instincts, especially and to go along with tools as well. They're both very good base runners.
The Nationals have taken a 6-2 lead. Swing and a miss by Francisco over the White Sox with 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th. Sarasota's Ian Desmond has hit his second. Adam LaRoche has hit his first. Jason Worth has hit his third. That game is in Washington. That one chopped foul. The Yankees are scoring runs all of a sudden. Andy Pettit's on the mound, and New York leads 9-1 in Cleveland.
Well, he's going to win his second game of the year.
Phillies getting a good start from Cliff Lee and have an 8-3 lead over the Mets in the 8th. Ryan Howard's first. John Mayberry Jr. is first. Michael Young is first. Down the line and foul.
Michael Young off to a good start as a Philly. All those years with Texas. He's got a few hits tonight. He's hitting close to 400.
Oh, 0-2 changeup from Ramos. There's Justin Upton. His RBI double has stretched the Braves' lead to 3-1. The Braves trying to go to 7-1 to open the season. Got a breaking ball. Francisco looking. And Ramos gives up the run. And the Braves will turn to that really good bullpen. 3-1 Atlanta.
In the 8th, the Braves leading the Marlins 3-1. Be sure to join Jeff Conine and myself, along with Alison Williams, Richard Tommy, after the game for Marlins Live Postgame, presented by Checkers. El Oso Blanco. How about Evan Gattis? It continues to hit the ball hard. Niners handle. Talk about that, and we'll preview Game 3 of this series. Speaking of the handle, now we've been trying to get Jeff a handle name on Twitter, Allison.
Yes.
Do you have some contenders, or are we going to go over in the post game?
Yes, we're going to give him a list of some options to choose from for his Twitter handle, which we're very excited he's going to finally take this plunge into the Twitterverse. It's a big deal. People have been asking for it for a long time. Yeah. Conine finally obliging today. Says he feels like some options We've got Mr. Marlin 9703.
Okay.
Okay. We've got Jeff _CO9 CO9. Mr. Marlin's Fish Tank. A little different. Kingfish 19. Marlin Man 19. First Fish and J9er 19.
All right. I like Rich's. The Conine, the Barbarian was good.
That
It's a little
was a
long.
good one. Yep. We need something short, succinct. You want people to be able to identify that it is Jeff Conine, but creative as well.
And
so
the racket one you had was good.
Yes, that was a good one as well.
Racket
Buster.
Racket Buster.
Yeah.
I think we should put that on the list to give Niner something different.
Okay. You want a little variety?
Just to give them an option.
We can work on that.
We'll have it on the post game.
Yes.
All right. Back to you.
You guys are like the Regis and Kelly of baseball.
Kathy Lee. We'll go.
Who's coming on the show
school.
today? Al? Here's Bobby Dorfman. He's like our producer guy right here in the corner. What's the guy's name on the?
All right,
Gelman. That would be Gelman.
Here's our Gelman.
I'm sorry that I know that.
Mark,
I don't know if you could see him here.
Mark and audio, $20 just to cut the mics.
Get a shot of Gelman first.
Mark, $20. Thanks. There you go. Here's Kearns, and he takes down low. So a leadoff walk. Fisher down a couple. Bottom of the 8th. Kearns pinch hitting in the pitcher spot. Eric O'Flaherty out of the bullpen. Chris Medlin splendid through 7.
You know what really helped Medlin? We talked about his pitch count. In the 5th inning, he threw 6 pitches. In the 6th inning, he threw 9, and he came back in the 7th with another 9-pitch inning. So he finished with just 24 pitches his last 3 innings.
Pierre takes down low. Well, the Braves bullpen came in last night and protected a 2-0 lead. O'Flaherty, a uneventful 8th. And then Kimbrel came in, and the Marlins made it exciting. They got a couple runners on, but Kimbrel struck out Adeiny Echeverria. Greg Kimbrel, you would think, would be on tap if it's still a save situation in the 9th here. He's got 3 saves already this year. Pierre shortening to bunt. 2-1. Braves looking for a double play. Ramiro Pena's now at 3rd. He shortens up. Little slug bunt. O'Flaherty pounces and fires to first in time to get Pierre.
It's a good job by O'Flaherty. I mean, he came off the mound. He actually approached that as if he were an infielder, an extra infielder.
Right now,
comes off the mound.
Technically, you can give Pierre a sacrifice, but in this spot, you're down by 2 runs. I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. His intent, we've seen him try it a couple of times to try to slap that ball and get it past the pitcher out toward the shortstop.
This is Chris Coughlin's spot, but Justin Ruggiano stands in. Ruggiano's first AB as he pinch hits here in the 8th inning. Against O'Flaherty. Takes a fastball for a strike. Marlins have 3 hits with their 1 run. They had just 2 hits and no runs last night. Talked about O'Flaherty last night as you got Roush and Cishek. O'Flaherty, one of the great waiver claims of the last 4 or 5 years, claimed on waivers. Seattle let him go, and the Braves found a real gem.
Funny how you can just pick a guy off waivers and all of a sudden it clicks with one particular team, and boy, has he clicked with the Braves.
In the dirt, and Ruggiano skips out of the way.
The Marlins tonight, and it's been a reoccurring nightmare, are 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position on the season. With runners in scoring position, the Marlins are 10 for 60.
Kearns at second with 1 out. You got Stanton and Polanco to follow. Little tapper, slowly hit. Pena charges, throws, and gets him. Kearns to third. Johnson dropped the ball on the transfer, so the out is recorded. And here comes Stanton with a runner at third base and 2 outs.
Yeah, and the double switch, Ramiro Pena came in the game, and he gets tested and makes a fine play. Heads up job on Austin Kearns' part. He sees that that play is going to first and gets himself to third.
Well, the Braves aren't even going to fool around with Stanton. They're just going to flat out intentionally walk him.
And we kind of got that feeling when we saw the way they pitched Stanton last night. However, early in the game, he did get some pitches to hit from Medlin, his first 3 at-bats.
So Polanco comes up. It does put the tying run at first. Polanco has doubled in 3 trips.
It's a move you don't see a lot, putting the tying run on base, but we see what direction Freddie Gonzalez is going. Polanco in his career 0 for 3 against O'Flaherty, too.
So O'Flaherty against Polanco in the dirt. Gaddis digs it out. For all of you that have been concerned about camera 12, we've been told that it should be, hopefully, up and running by the weekend. That's the goal of the crack staff. Polanco lines it into right field. That's a base hit. Miami has its second run. Stanton stops at second base. And so Placido Polanco with 2 hits. It's 3-2.
This is what Mike Redmond had in mind when he toyed a few games and then did it again tonight with Polanco hitting in the cleanup spot. No, he's not the prototypical number 4 hitter, but he can drive in a run. He can keep things going, keep it moving.
Now it's Dobbs, but he is facing a lefty. Dobbs 0 for 3. Had 4 hits in New York against lefties. And O'Flaherty bends one in there for a strike. Dobbs pulled it foul. And it's 0-2.
It's funny how I always like to see how different clubs defend hitters, and you see a different defense against Dobbs than the Mets had out there.
No swing. That, according to C.B. Buckner. Dobbs very close. I think you'll see. I think he may have gotten away with one. I think that was a swing.
I think he pulled it back quick enough that he may have fooled him.
Well, Miami gets a break. Dobbs is still alive. O'Flaherty with a count 1-2. Breaking ball, grounded out to second. Ugly gobbles it up, fires to first in time. Miami gets a run, but that's it off of Eric O'Flaherty. And the Fish are still a run short of Atlanta. MLB.TV is celebrating 11 years already. Join the millions of fans and subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Justin Ruggiano stays in the ball game, and Ruggiano is in center. John Roush into the ball game to try to keep it at 1 run.
Yeah, it's unfortunate the Braves getting that third run in the 8th inning off A.J. Ramos. The big double by Justin Upton, but he seems to be getting big hits all the time because that 1 run now has given them that 1-run lead because Marlins tried to creep back with their run last inning.
So Chris Johnson, Reed Johnson, and then Ramiro Pena in the 9th against Roush. We asked, there was a tweet 2 innings ago, who the Marlins should go out and acquire or trade for. And I think your response was, let's go find some suggestions. And Michael tweets back, how about Carlos Lee again? Or go for Peter Bourgeois of the Angels, Mike Alt to help at third base.
Well, Mike Alt, you'd have to make a trade for.
Right.
One of the top prospects in Texas's organization.
So the Marlins would have to give up a nice piece, or a piece that the Rangers needed or wanted. Roush to Johnson. Peter Borges of the Angels is another guy you'd have to trade for, though the price for Borges would not be as steep as for Alt.
Not as steep, no.
I don't know what El Caballo is doing or what he's weighing at this point. Roush, though, on a breaking ball, strikes out Chris Johnson. What did I call him? Peter Bourgeois. Good tight spin.
Good
and
job.
Strikeout for Roush.
Roush just continues to go out and do his job. Comes in. He's a strike thrower. He's not overpowering, but he's always around the zone and mixes things up.
Reed Johnson, center field. Ruggiano glides back and makes the catch. So Roush has a couple of outs. Now Pena comes up for his first at bat. Solano, Brantley, Echeverria scheduled in the 9th for Miami. And of course, as we noted, you got Kimbrel in the bullpen who worked last night.
Kimbrel threw 28 pitches last night. He had to, I don't want to say labor, but he wasn't as sharp as we've seen. So Kimbrel will try to get his 4th save. Sergio Romo of the Giants already has 4.
Pena parts of 4 years with the Yankees at the big league level. And he shoots it out to left center field. Ball carrying pretty well tonight. Ruggiano is there to make the catch. Craig Kimbrel looking for save number 4. 3-2 Atlanta. Last night, Craig Kimbrell was given a 2-run lead. He protected it. Jason Hayward's in the game as the Braves make a change defensively. Hayward in right field. And here is Kimbrell. He wasn't sharp last night, but he was good enough to notch the save. And when I mean sharp, I'm talking about inhuman, which is what he was last year. He was incredibly efficient and dominant last year. So to see him work an inning and have a couple base runners on is like, wait a minute, what's wrong with him?
Yeah, I mean, when you start looking at his numbers last year, 62 and 2/3 innings. Between hits and walks, only 41 base runners between hits and walks, and 116 strikeouts in his 62-plus innings.
He bounces one to Solano to open the inning. I know pitch count is something that everyone looks at for starters, but I think for closers sometimes it's significant. Kimbrell threw 28 pitches, getting those 3 outs last night. And Silver Surfer pose is 2-0 coming. He dodged the corner at 95. That's such a great look. Three and one to Donovan Solano. Kimbrell. That's way out. And again, Tommy, he doesn't look his dominant self. That's not saying that he can't close the game, but Kimbrell walked 14 all season long. And last night, he walked the leadoff man to open his inning, and he walks the leadoff man here.
You think back to the couple of years that John Smoltz was closing games and the success he had against the Marlins. And it was pretty much lights out. It's been that way for Kimbrell, but yeah, you pointed out he's struggled a little bit last night. Now he's going to have to throw a few more pitches to work around this leadoff walk. But the Marlins get the door opened anyway.
Brantley squares, pops the bunt up. Pena has it. They double Solano off. Just an epic disaster.
That's a great way to put it. Just an epic disaster. Some of the little things, again, we talk about if you're in there sacrificing, go after a strike. You saw it almost looked like Brantley was bunting in a squeeze situation, like he had to bunt the ball. You don't have to bunt the ball. And the pitch was way inside. He tried to go after it. And a good play by Pena at third to catch and throw and get the double play.
Echeverria takes a strike. And so the Marlins get a leadoff walk from a guy that walks very few hitters. And they give the Braves 2 outs.
I think we talked about it in the spring. We talked about it the first week of the season. The Marlins don't have the pop offensively. In order to score runs, they've got to continue to do little things, and they've not been good at the little things so far. And I'm sure Mike Redmond's going to make them realize that, and they know it themselves.
You saw that shot of Redmond, who is probably feeling a lot older than 41 about now.
Yeah, he started the year the youngest manager in the National League.
Three and one. Echeverria takes a strike. Echeverria struck out to end last night's game. Kimbrel trying to do the same to get his 4th save. Olivo is on deck. Three-two coming. And he gets Echeverria to end this one with some help from the Marlins. Craig Kimbrel finishes. Atlanta has won the first 2 games of this series, and the Braves are 7-1 to start the season. And another rugged night for the Fish offensively here tonight at Marlins Park. Atlanta 3 runs, 8 hits. The Marlins 2 runs, just 4 hits.